Dan Illman, Mike Beer. It's Queen's Plate Saturday at Woodbine, but let's throw up the field first for race number 9. This is the Grade 2 Canadian. We're going 1.1 miles on the turf, a one-turn, 9-furlong race over the spacious E.P. Taylor turf course. Cambier Park, 6-5 on the morning line, Mike. She's a very talented filly. It's a short price to take on a horse that hasn't run since last fall and is going to have to navigate a long stretch at a demanding 9 furlongs.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what she does, Dan. She obviously got a lot better towards the end of her 3-year-old campaign, closed that year out with back-to-back Grade 1 wins over this distance. So, I mean, I guess overall you don't worry about the distance, but man, where has she been since last October?
Good question. Chad Brown, though, one of the best off of layoffs, and this one's been working down at Saratoga. Now, she was on the lead in the QE2, kind of stole that race on the lead. Timeform US doesn't believe that's going to happen in the Canadian. We throw up the pace projector in here. We see the number 5 expected to show a little bit of early speed in here. That's another time she has shown speed in the past. The 8 Bold Script has a little bit of speed. The 3 Elizabeth Way, a little bit of speed. There are no burners in here, Mike. I have a feeling this pace might be kind of slow and they're going to be bunched up turning into the stretch.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't think they'll be going too fast up front. And so we'll just see how it all plays out, at least in Cambier Park's situation, where, she probably won't make the lead in here. In her case, it doesn't really matter. She does not need the lead. She just happened to be on the lead in the QE2 the last time we saw her, but she doesn't need that trip.
Now, Theodora B, the number 1, made the lead last time out. Somebody had to make the lead. They walked. She went 6 furlongs and 16 and change. They turn into the stretch. Mike Beer, you were all over Theodora B at 11-1. Cheek pieces on. The Chad Brown trained favorite, Etoile, trying to come up the rail. And Theodora B continues to hold sway. Just a great ride from Justin Stein to slow down these fractions. She beat 3 of these in this race. Pace and trip had something to do with it.
Yeah, she beat 3 of these last time, but she took advantage to do it. She got a great ride, did what she had to do with it. You could see there all through the stretch. Just was never really giving up that lead there, Dan. Etoile was trying to get her, but she was never catching this horse. She ran fine. I will say that I was concerned about the 1.25 miles going in. I think the only reason she got it is because they allowed her to go so slow. So I think cutting back to 9 furlongs could actually help this horse. And she's got a race or two that would make her very, very competitive right back.
Boy, Court Return, the number 2, has returned a completely different filly in 2020. I guess she just is matured, or maybe she likes the inner turf course at Woodbine. Let's watch the Eternal Search, restricted stakes race last time out over that inner turf course. She's on the outside right now, the number 1 in that green cap, and she's just going to keep right on rolling along. She overcame a slow pace. Look at that half-mile split, 49-3, no problem for Court Return, who is now paired up by her tops. The problem is those by her tops are 77s, and she's going to have to run a lot faster to win the Canadian.
Yeah, it seems like she's going to have to really improve again. I'll be honest, and I like each of her last 2 races. She's looked really good rolling through the stretch each time, obviously against weaker horses. But maybe this is too tough for her, but there's no doubt she's a better horse as a 4-year-old.
Emma Jane Wilson gave Elizabeth Way a beautiful ride in the Nassau 2 starts back. That was a race for a 1-turn mile. There wasn't any pace on. Elizabeth Way stayed right up close, and then she was able to outstay another time to the wire. My problem is I just couldn't find the excuse last time out in the Dance Smartly. She attached herself right off of the winner's hip, and she just couldn't stay in the stretch in a one-paced performance. I'm a fan of Elizabeth Way. I think she's going to have to do better than the Dance Smartly.
She probably will. I don't know, Dan. I know that she wanted 1 mile and 3/16 back in February. I wonder if 1.25 miles is what she really wants. I can see the shorter distance of this race really working for her. She's very tactical. Does she have to improve a little bit to win this race? Maybe she does. I don't see why she can't do it. I would use this horse.
Here's a well-bred filly with some upside potential going out for a very underrated trainer. The 4, Ride for the Cause, a Samson homebred daughter of Candy Ride. Let's watch her win over the inner turf on August the 1st. This pace was fast, but Ride for the Cause, She's going to come with a good run. Just look at her. She's really extending right now. I'm very impressed visually with the way she finishes this race off.
Yeah, me too. She did get a good trip, ultimately getting out into the clear there in the upper stretch, and then she did the rest from there. Really good finish from this filly. I like the way she's come back off of that little bit of a layoff, Dan, in her last two starts. And I'll admit, I had a thing for her last year, anyways, a 3-year-old. I liked her first two starts off of that long layoff towards the end of last year, and I thought she had a little bit of a trip when they brought her down to Gulfstream for that Tropical Park Oaks. I thought she ran a lot better than it looks in that race.
Another time, the number 5 is back on turf. I think that might be her preferred surface right now, even though she was graded placed on the Tapeta 2-back. She just missed in the Nassau. The problem was she had that race in the bag the way the pace set up. She had the lead. Elizabeth Way was breathing down her throat. It looked like Another Time was traveling better than Elizabeth Way, turning into that long stretch. And Elizabeth Way just beat her on the square. And when I saw that, I'm like, I'd rather have Elizabeth Way than Another Time in here.
I feel the same way about it. And that's in no way a knock on this filly, who has clearly gotten better.
No.
And her last two turf starts are both very, very good, and probably the two best races of her career. But I don't know if the 9 furlongs really works for her, Dan, and I want other horses in this race.
That's the thing. It's not an indictment on her. She obviously has ability and class. I just wonder if at 1 1/8, she's truly going to be at her best. Maybe they send her. Maybe they try to control what could be a slow pace in here, and she gets the distance. I think it will be a very stiff test at this distance. Amalfi Coast is one of those fillies that one of these days is going to get a trip and is going to pull an upset at a big, big price. She was a very good 3-year-old filly last year, whether it was turf, whether it was synthetic. Her seasonal debut going 7.5 furlongs. Watch the trip in Formulator. It was an unmitigated disaster. The Nassau, no pace on, little bit of traffic. I think you give her an excuse for that race. And then we watched the Seaway last time out, where they cut her all the way back to 7 furlongs on a synthetic track. She's trying to come from far out of it again. She's in the yellow cap with the green silks, and these horses got the jump on her. But as she's running late, she's in good form. I'm not worried about the distance. I might be making a big, big mistake in underestimating her in this race, because I do believe she has the talent to win.
Yeah, I think she does too. I do think she's probably going to need to catch some breaks to beat this field. But I agree with you. There are ways to look at her recent form and just say she's so much better than she looks on paper. And each of her last 3 races are actually good anyway. So we'll see. I know she won at 9 furlongs last year, but that was against restricted horses. I wonder if this is really how far she wants to go. That was my big concern with her.
Let's watch Runway Dreamer's most recent effort, an allowance race over the inner turf, going 1 1/16. She's on the outside in the pink. There was a solid pace. She came with a prolonged rally, and she just keeps right on going. My main issue here is the quality of competition she beat. She's taking a big step up in class for Josie Carroll.
Yeah, it is a big step up in class. I don't know if she's ready for it just yet as a 3-year-old filly. I did like that win we just watched, though. I mean, only 3/4 of a length at the end, but she was always winning that race, and it was a lot easier than the margin might lead you to believe. But this is a big step up in class.
I was very surprised that the 8 bold script was taken off of the pace last time out. She was last, and this is a filly that can be close to the pace. She was on the lead 3 back going 1 1/16. Now, maybe they just fell in love with the running style that resulted in her win over the Tapeta 2 starts back, but she had no chance once Theodora B dropped the anchor on the backstretch. She's better than that last race. I think at best she's a minor award candidate. She likes to run second and third a lot.
Yeah, she is better than her last race, but I don't know if it makes her this good, Dan. And she's still got an awful lot to prove as far as her turf performance goes. She's okay on turf, but I wonder if this is her best surface. And even if it is, she still has to take a step forward.
Art of Almost, another one that was probably compromised by that lack of pace. She at least tried to make a move into it, into the stretch, and then understandably flattened out. She is another that can get up close to the pace. This is kind of a rider's race, this Canadian Stakes. It'll be interesting to see who is aggressive out of there and tries to make the front. I don't think it'll be Art of Almost, but I don't think she'll be too far away.
I don't think she'll be too far away either. We'll see what happens. I thought she ran fine last time. I'm still waiting for her to sort of break out as a 4-year-old. I don't necessarily think she's done it yet, but maybe she'll take a step forward in this race. She's going to be a great price.
And here's your morning line favorite, who has not run since October the 12th, 2019. Cambier Park makes her belated 4-year-old debut, and she won a couple of grade ones to finish off her 3-year-old season, including the Queen Elizabeth II Cup. Let's watch that race right now. She just went to the front. There was no pressure. You go 49 to the half at Keeneland, 114-2, and you're even money. You're supposed to sprint on home the way Cambier Park did. I'm not really looking at this race as an indicator of her true ability. I really liked her Del Mar Oaks. Now, maybe she was just better than those horses as well, but that was the old in-out trip, and she inhaled everybody late. She's got ability. She's going to have to deal with the layoff. In Chad, I trust.
Yeah, listen, she certainly got a lot better towards the end of her 3-year-old campaign. We talked about her a lot last year, Dan. We did all of her races. I wasn't a huge fan of hers, but, recognized that she was good. I wasn't a huge fan of hers, but she did end her campaign the right way. Is she the horse to beat in this race? Yes, she is. Do I want to take her at even money or something off the layoff? Probably not. I'll try to beat her in this race, but I'm not going to be surprised when she's too good.
And we'll throw up our top selections. And I am a big fan of hers. I really think if she's right, she's pretty good and can actually be very good. But this is going to be a stern test, going 1 1/8 off the layoff. Ride for the Cause is kind of the interesting horse because she's going to be a giant price. And I just like the way visually she finished that last race off. If Cambier Park gets late and feels the effects of the layoff, I don't see why Ride for the Cause isn't the one to run her down.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too. She's just going to be too good a price. I liked her as a 3-year-old. I think she's getting better now as a 4-year-old. She's third off the layoff and exiting probably the best race of her career.
10-1-6-3 for me, 4-10-6-3 for Mike. We'll see how Cambier Park comes back off this long layoff. Multiple Grade 1 stakes winner for Chad Brown. It's the Grade 2 Canadian. It's Queen's Plate Saturday at Woodbine, and the Canadian is an approximate post of 4:51 Eastern. Good luck.